It's a bear. Hey, good morning. What's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. And who is Brian Kuzmar? Well, most of you know me already if you've been following my show and hitting that like button, subscribe button. For those who don't, I am a full-time precious metal dealer in South Florida. I've grown up down here most of my life. Started working for my family business, second-generation dealer since 1977, and I've been in this current location since 1995. Just to kind of give you a background on who I am, and so you know I'm not talking through my ass here. I do have some experience in this field. Well, beautiful day out there. Take a look at this weather. Wow. Just kind of stormy off there in the distance here, and that's kind of like what our economy is like. It's stormy in the distance here, and we're just waiting for that storm to hit at some point. And a beautiful day, actually. Let me kind of move out of here and do the escape button there. What is it? 80 degrees. It's almost 9 o'clock. It's 80 degrees. Well, we had a beautiful season here in South Florida this year. Our weather in May was phenomenal. April, we're back to our summer months. But, man, we had really good weather this year. I don't know if the rest of you noticed that, but wow. Let's take a look at CCE spots down. Little monkey hammered down a bit this morning. We were at $1,928 even today, which brings up the topic of my report, psychological numbers. Not really the topic, but something I wanted to bring up that I found odd. I've noticed it for years, but I've never really thought to talk about it. Psychological numbers. So let's just take a look at markets overnight here. 1890 was the low. I think that was actually probably this morning in New York or just recently. And overnight markets were around 1903, so about that $1,900 mark. And silver low 27.57 and a high overnight of $28, and platinum 11.56. Wow, what a good buy. And a high of 11.79 overnight, and we're down about 20 bucks lower than that where we were from the high. It's currently sitting at 11.59. Psychological numbers. Now let me talk about those. And by the way, these prices that we're seeing right here, super cheap, super cheap. Who cares? You know, even if silver's at 2,100, silver at 2,100. If gold's at 2,100, I still think that's cheap. So I'm going to keep telling you it's cheap for quite some time, because I do. I really think these precious metal prices are way cheaper than they really should be. However, I think the day of reckoning is coming at some point, and for those precious metal stackers, your day will come here. But again, remember, you're buying this stuff not, sorry about the phone there, I may get rid of that. You're buying this stuff not to get rich. I mean, you know, it's nice, the idea, and you can make a lot of money in precious metals, and you probably will, you know, if you buy low and you sell high. However, remember, your primary goal here is about wealth, maintaining your wealth, maintaining your position in life, you know, not going backwards, not sticking money in a bank that pays nothing, and the cost of living is constantly going up. I mean, you're kind of stuck right now where you can put your money. You can't put your money in the bank. You're going to lose money if you put your money in your bank. You can put your money in the stock market right now, equity markets. I mean, for a decade now, I've just been absolutely amazed and surprised at how well that market's done. But, you know, each day that goes by, it's like that ticking time bomb. Remember the toy we talked about yesterday that you used to have when you were a kid, or when I was a kid, that you would wind up and you would toss to someone, and whoever got caught when the bomb noise went off, they were out of the game, and you kept playing that game. Well, you don't want to be the guy caught with that dollars in his hand. You know, you don't want to be sitting with dollars in your hand. Dollars are a bad place to be. Banks are a bad place to be. And again, where do you put your money? I mean, you know, I'm here to tell you about gold, silver, and precious metals. I'm not an expert in other fields. I can't tell you to put your money in cryptos. I can't tell you to put your money in whatever it may be, a housing market, you know, investing in real estate. My specialty is precious metals, and I do that very well. And again, one of the things that I tell you to do is if you're about wealth preservation, making some money, eliminate your third-party risk. And eliminating third-party risk means hold your gold and silver yourself. Don't let anyone else do it for you. Don't buy a piece of paper that says you own a piece of gold. You want to physically own the stuff. That's the beauty of gold, silver, and platinum and precious metals, is that you can physically own it and hold it yourself. You know, so let's take a look at some news articles here. But first, before I do that, again, psychological numbers. If you remember, what seems to be the psychological number with gold and silver right now? Oddly enough, 1900, which where it was before I actually updated, and I'll do a quick update before I get out of here. But gold, right before I updated this number and started the show here, was at 1900, and silver was about 2800. 2800. There I go with the 2800 again. $28 per ounce. And what's interesting about it, they're nice round even numbers. 1900. Why is 1900 been a resistant level? Why is $28 been a resistance level? It's the same thing with $29 and $2,000 and $30. These even numbers are seems like resistance levels, and it's kind of and it's, again, it's psychological numbers or psychological points. And when people play in markets and when they bet on things, they tend to pick round numbers or their favorite numbers. In this case, I think a majority of people are going to pick round numbers. But let's take a look at. I went and looked. I did a Google search real quick, or I'm sorry, I don't use Google. I use DuckDuckGo because they have way better privacy. So I did a DuckDuckGo search on psychological numbers to see what I could pick up. And actually, here I'm going to just reverse back and look psychological numbers. I didn't find much at all. I found this one article, psychological level round numbers in Forex trading. So I'm going to use that. And again, most psychological numbers here, they don't talk about investments. And I don't think anyone's really written a great article about that. Otherwise, it would have probably came up in the search engine here. But if anyone finds anything, put it in the comment section down below. I'd like to read it. All right, let's just take a quick look at this. And again, this just talks about the anomaly that we see. Like I said, with $29 or $28 silver. Why the resistance? It gets to 28 and bang, bang, boom. It gets knocked back down. The same thing with 29, same thing with 30. And I'm sure the same thing is going to be with $40 silver and $50. I mean, think about $50 silver, for example. Silver has that psychological $50 point. Why is that? I mean, and again, I can only account it to being a psychological thing unless it's just manipulated by the man and there's some guy up there that just picks these numbers. I'm going to pick this number, but I don't think that's the way it plays out. Again, I think they're psychological numbers. I'm going to quickly kind of read over this. This is FX, so this is about currency trading, but somebody had the bright idea that I did. Why is this? Warren Bankadis, market writer for this daily FX, came up with the same thought. Well, what's the deal with this? So let's kind of read his article a little bit, and I don't want to make this show too long, so bear with me, folks. I've got some other interesting things to talk about. We're going to talk about ZH here in a minute, and a couple good articles on precious metals, and then we'll go to GAT.org, and then I'll talk about, I'll answer some comments from yesterday's videos, and then I'll tell you what the best deals out there that you can buy in gold and silver from your local dealers. Let's talk about this first real quick. Key levels in Forex tend to draw attention to levels traders in the market. There are psychological prices which tie into the human psyche in the way of thinking. This article will cover the following key areas about psychological levels and round numbers in Forex trading. Now, just take out Forex trading and think of any other market. It could be equities market. The same thing happens there. Could be, but not as prevalent. Could be, again, think of it as a precious metals market. Just keep thinking $50 silver. Why do they use the word? Why is 50? It's a psychological number. Psychological level definitions, identifying psychological levels, using, well, he's going into why he's going to do this, or what he's going to get into. What are psychological levels and how do they work? Psychological levels are market price levels, which are often key levels in Forex. And we'll say, well, I'm going to just use the word in gold, denoted by round numbers. These round numbers frequently act as levels of support and or resistance. Psychological support and resistance consistently works because of fundamentals in human disposition. So there's really the science behind this is psychology, folks. Human beings value simplicity. From a trading perspective, this means valuing whole numbers. Well, God, that almost sums it up in a paragraph right there, is that it's actually us that are picking these numbers out. We're picking out these psychological key points, and out of simplicity, we like round, even numbers, and that makes complete sense to me. I could almost end this entire talk right here that I'm giving you at this, but let's keep going here. And that kind of explains it in a nutshell right there. We are the ones that are setting these psychological levels, and that's what I was going to get to before I found this article. But this article brings up some other interesting things as well. Good read, too, by the way. Again, Psychological Levels Around Numbers in Forex Trading. It's by Warren Benketis. Thank you, Warren. Nice article, sir. I'm going to kind of gloss over, not gloss over, I should stop using that word. I'm going to go over a couple things on this thing. article. Sorry about it. Thing. Traders will often call these whole numbers intervals, double zeros, as these prices are at even numbers such as 13100. And again, think $50 silver, think $29 silver, $28 silver, where we're at right now. Key psychological points. The chart below identifies double zeros in the current. Now he's using the current chart for the Forex trading. Now, I would bet you if you took a gold chart, you would see the same thing that he's pointing out here, is that the charts hang around these double zero, like 1900 gold, 2000 gold, and he's absolutely right. If you go take a look at the charts, you'll see that the upswings, or when we're getting into that upswing usually, and this doesn't really happen in down markets. These psychological key points only seem to happen in the up markets primarily. Well, they do the down markets as well, but they're more noticeable by most people in the up markets. So for example here, he's pointing out, and I can't see his chart, but he's pointing out the round even numbers, and you'll see that a lot of times, there you go, it hangs out right below that. Chart's a little hard to read, I'm sorry about that. Some traders will take this step further by looking at the number directly in the middle of these hold numbers, or the 50s. These levels such as 131,500 can often come into play at the same manner as double zeros. Well, that's getting into a little bit more than what I want to talk about. We're going to just stick with double zeros right here. And how to use psychological. I kind of went over this article here. Again, the first couple paragraphs is what really caught me, is who sets these psychological levels, and again, it's us. He talks about how to trade these levels right here, and how to use psychological levels in Forex trading. I guess if you think about it, it's probably no different than using psychological levels in precious metals. And they kind of work until they don't. For example, like we've been watching this silver run up to this $28 level. And again, this is obviously a psychological level. It's an even number, 2,800. What does it do? You've been watching it yourself. If you're a precious metal silver stacker, and we've been in these mid-20 levels for how long now? You've seen it make a run at this even number level, 28, 28, 28, gets knocked down. But you saw the same thing at 27, if you remember. But 28 seems to be the key psychological barrier right now. So once we move past that period, I think your next big psychological barrier is going to be $30 an ounce. However, it's kind of interesting if you look at this, because now we know. Now we know. It's pretty obvious. It's been clear as a nose on our face that these are psychological levels. Again, like $50. Silver's been near that $50 mark, what, twice in its all-time highs, once in 1980. However, $1980, it would make it, it's worth a lot more, and $80 than it is now. But then again in 2012, we've seen an all-time high of $50 in silver again. That's a psychological number, folks. Let me go over a few other things here. Again, I don't want to read this whole article. And he talks about, in many ways, untested psychological levels. Now, he's talking about, we've already tested all the way up to $50. So we've tested these psychological levels. And what he's talking about right here is untested psychological levels. And that, for us, would be $50 silver. And what would it be for gold? $2,200 gold or something, because I think we broke that 2,100 mark already. $2,200 gold would be a psychological mark for gold, I think. Although that's a little harder to pick here. But as far as silver, I think $50 would be called our what is he calling it right here? Psychological, untested psychological level. And gold, again, would probably be $2,200 for our untested psychological level as well. Although for some reason in my mind I keep thinking $2,500, because I believe everyone expects silver to hit that $2,500 mark. Above that, who knows? At least I do. In general, round numbers such as $70 will garner more attention than more pedestrian level like 7,100. Most traders will often assign a higher degree of strength to the more rounded intervals. Wow, that is really interesting, folks. And I think part of investing is learning the psychology of maybe the smartest investors out there, like Warren Buffett and a lot of people. Now, Warren Buffett made that comment that when, and again, I quoted this the other day, that when most people are fearful, they're greedy. And when most people are greedy, they're fearful. Well, what does that tell you about Warren Buffett? Well, Warren Buffett knows psychology, and I guess there is a huge, not guess, there is a huge amount of psychology involved with investing. It's not all science, it's not all just numbers, and a lot of it is psychology. And good article, by the way. And again, he talks about the untested psychological levels. And I like that. I've not heard any other people write about these psychological levels like this before. And what is our untested psychological level for silver is $50. That's the level that where we all get a little wonky. What's going to happen after $50? Myself, the experts, everybody, we don't know. It's untested. But that is the psychological level, $50, and again, $2,100 for gold. The levels, the psychological levels we're dealing with today are just temporary stops, on the upside and the downside. Again, if you look at today's prices, look, what is the psychological level today? It's $1,900 for gold and $28 for silver. But we will surely break those because we have in the past. We're familiar with this. So the psychology tells us that we're going to hem and haw at $1,900. We're going to hem and haw at $28, but we are going to surpass that. The real question is what happens when we get to the untested psychological levels. That's the real question. And personally, I think we're going to blow through them. It's going to surprise the hell out of us. Let's move along here. The advantage and limitations of psychological levels. I'm going to stop right here. Well, actually, see in the article, so I got to stop unless I want to keep writing it for them. Advantages: serves as a key level of support and resistance. So think about this as gold. When you see these the psychological support levels or these psychological numbers, these round numbers like 28, you know in your head we're going to pass them. You just don't know when, just like I do. We don't know exactly when. The timing is everything. Timing is everything in life. But we know for a fact that they're going to pass these psychological levels. Now, what we don't know is what happens after the untested psychological levels. He also points out easy to identify for novice traders, and that's true. How simple is the number 2,800, 30, 31, 32 probably, I think people like even numbers too as well. So even numbers probably should be included with that. Can be implemented in all financial markets. Well, this guy nailed it. Really, really good article. Now, he does make the limitations. Not always 100% reliable as a key level. Well, why is that? Well, because psychological levels are broken, except for the untested ones. The untested ones are the only ones that wow, I was just going to say are reliable, but so far they've been reliable that silver hasn't gone above $50 an ounce, and gold hasn't had a good reliable psychological level as far as untested goes. Gold seems to be testing new levels all the time. That has, but silver, that untested that level is $50 for sure. Should be used as a guideline in conjunction with supporting indicators and technical analysis techniques. A little too complicated for me, so let's move along here. Let's see, I'm going to show you the name of this article real quick so you can read it yourself. Again, because I am here not to give you a fish, but to teach you how to fish. Because once I do that, you can eat for life and you don't need me anymore. And it makes you a much smarter bear and a much smarter buyer on top of that. And every dealer, including myself, appreciates smart buyers. It helps us get our job done quicker, and time is money. Let's move along to ZH here. I went over some articles here. I've kind of clicked a few that we're going to discuss real quick. Short squeezes over a few others. But I'll go over some basic news here, see if it applies to anything in precious metals, non-gold and silver stuff. I always say that always read the news every day. Not just corporate news, because corporate hands you just one narrative, the same narrative all the time. The narrative, their corporate narrative, what they want you to hear. What I like about ZH, and again, it's got its faults. There is negativity in here. A lot of people say it's all negative, but the fact is, all news is pretty much negative. The only people that spin sunshine and unicorns up your ass is corporate news, and it's for their own betterment. It's for their own profit levels. So. I like ZH because it's a hub. Anyways, I won't go, a lot of you are probably tired of me talking about that. And I don't get paid from them. And in fact, I pay $1 a day to get their premium service here. So all this pumping for them, I know I shouldn't get anything. I'm not paid by them to say this. Tesla shares jump after China-made vehicle sales rise 29% in May. Interesting enough, I read this. What does this have to do with gold and silver? Not much, but it shows you the power of one person, how one person can just move markets by opening up their mouth. And who is that as far as gold and silver goes? Well, we'd have to say that's the Fed. The Fed's the ones that can open their mouths and cause precious metals or any markets to go crazy. But they're losing their hold. The Fed's losing their hold on the price of gold. And again, that's why a lot of people believe they manipulate it, and I believe that as well. I digress. 4 reasons why the market doldrums ends with next Friday, blah, blah, blah. This was very interesting. Futures briefly dip after global internet outage and storm to all-time highs. And the reason I bring this up here, and I'm going to just kind of click over to that article here. Where is it? Futures, here we go. What I found very interesting is Bitcoin rebounded, dropping as low as 32,000 overnight, slumping after a 2-week low, with some analysts pointing to recovery of colonial pipeline companies ransom as evidence that the crypto isn't beyond government control. Well, that's not the quote. Actually, I just read you the complete wrong quote, but I was going to go into Bitcoin here real quickly. And I don't know if many of you know this, but early in the morning there were internet outages, and it wasn't just regional areas, it was all over the globe. Apparently, and here, where is it? There we go. Apparently in the morning, I get here. Let me see if I can find that article. Well, apparently in the morning, one of the key components of the internet that helps, don't ask me what it does actually, something somehow broke. So a lot of internet services and a lot of use of the internet all over the globe was down. Now, this is concerning because what if it was permanently taken down? What if, and the thing that bothers me too is when your assets rely on electricity, and when your assets entirely, not to say entirely rely on electricity, and when your assets entirely rely on the internet. I'd be very afraid of that, folks. In fact, I wouldn't want to have all my eggs in one basket that relied on power and internet. I mean, the fact is that we've known for decades now that our infrastructure here with our power is very shaky. No one likes to talk about it. No one likes to discuss it. But all it takes is for a part of the country to go down, and it's a cascading effect. It keeps taking down more power plants, keeps taking down more systems. Now, if we had an area where the entire power grid was taken down for any length of time, you can see how bad that would be for the economy in general. Where are you going to get your money? What happens to investments? What happens when markets don't trade anymore? Now imagine that the only way you can get money is through a card, your credit card now. The only way you can make money, your cryptos are no longer available. In fact, one of the things that concerns me about cryptos and other things is just think about a hacker coming in and destroying all the content it's just, there's a lot of things that frighten me with having your assets tied to electricity and internet. And again, I'm not a Luddite. I'm not a person that says, you don't do anything online or anything that relies on power and internet. We're in the future. It's unlikely that'll happen, but it's always a possibility. Again, this is the reason I talk about owning physical precious metals. You have it physically in your hands. You buried it in your yard. You got it in your walls. You got it in your safe. Wherever. You have some assets. You have something to live on. And the beauty of, even though I'm not a fan of the fiat dollar, the paper dollar bill, the nice thing about paper dollar bills is that, and I live in an area in Florida, we've been through hurricanes here, and I've been through personally 2-3 weeks without power, internet, nothing, through hurricanes in South Florida. I don't know if any of you else have, but for those who've been without power and internet, you understand this. Thank God for a dollar bill. And I don't think you'll hear me say that many times, but if I had a debit card or credit card, we would have starved. One of the things we know in Florida is we go and we get cash out of the banks. Why do we get cash out of the banks? Because we won't have internet or power. So thank God for fiat dollar bills, so we're able to feed ourselves. And I was open and available for business even without power and internet, because I could find out the price of gold, and so one of my friends or family needed some money or something like that. Prior to the hurricane, I had gotten out huge amounts of cash, so I could buy gold and silver with it. But think about that. If I had to write a check to buy gold and silver from someone, or if I had to electronically transfer that funds to them, they would have never got paid. They would have had no money. They would have starved. But unlikely they're going to starve. But imagine a hurricane on a national level. Well, anyway, I'm going to move along here from a few other things. Blaine, will agreement on global tax ever become a reality? Yellen is wrong. Well, of course we know Yellen is wrong. Maybe she's not. Maybe she knows exactly what she's doing. She just has to play the game. Oh, geez, I guess I could go into a completely news reading thing here, but I'm not. Again, let me go stick to, there's some good articles in here, but let me go stick to precious metals. And where is it? I had something highlighted in here, and now it is gone. Shifting to silver. Okay, an article here. I think this is on Seeking Alpha. Another one of our top names last Friday was the silver, First Majestic Silver. On Monday, it was our top name again with iShare Silver Trust, an SLV, and another silver ETF. Coincidentally, over the weekend, anyway, he is talking about silver. In our view, the silver miner AG is a better bet now than silver itself. This is what I wanted to get to, or the ETF tracking it. And the reason they're talking about this is we've seen the First Majestic versus SLV and Sprout Silver over the last few years. Well, he was absolutely right. And again, this is an article from short squeezes to silver. It's in heavily shorted top names. They're talking about mostly heavily shorted names, but they're talking about silver down here. And remember what I was telling you about wealth preservation and making money. You know, you can make a lot of money in silver and gold. I tell you how you make a lot of money in silver and gold is you buy good mining. Now, this is not there's two ways that I'm going to look at gold and silver investing. Is I think that all of you should own precious metal in the form of bars or coins that you physically possess. However, if you want to get into that get wealthy, get rich mentality as you're stacking these gold and silver bars, take some of that money that you have in equities and other things. And again, this is my opinion. I'm not an investment advisor, but I'm just throwing some thoughts out there. And if you pretty much believe that we are in a full-blown bull market in precious metals, and again, it doesn't always look that way. Bull markets can last a long time and protracted and up and down and real choppy, but we are. If you go and buy yourself a good mining stock from a good mining company. Now, the problem with mining companies and buying stocks in companies that deal in precious metals is that you are not buying the precious metal per se. You are buying the company, and when you're buying the company, you're also buying the people that run that company. So this is why I say that you can't just go buy any mining stock. You just can't go buy any gold-backed or silver-backed investment. You have to buy ones that are run by people that know what the hell they're doing and do it well. I'd also recommend, unless you know that market real well, sticking with the well-known names that do well and run their companies well. Will they go up as much as some of the smaller ones that get lucky? Maybe not, but I think your upside's better as far as security goes, and I think your downside's kind of limited if you're buying miners at, again, well-known miners in a good bull market. But that's kind of what he's talking about right here. But again, that is to make a lot of money, and that's more of a gambling type thing, I think. Gold and silver bars and coins are about wealth preservation. Let me move on to the next article here. And that's, oh, no, we already talked about this. But Bitcoin, we talked about power and everything like that. Let's talk about the other part of Bitcoin. Slumping to a 2-week low with some analysts plotting to recovery. This concerned me about Bitcoin as well, is Bitcoin was supposed to be anonymous, and governments weren't supposed to be able to get to that Bitcoin, for example. If you own the government in another country, you were in the United States and you fled the United States and you owned Italy, $1 million in parking fines. Italy couldn't go and find your crypto account and take your money. But apparently, folks, it is not as secure as you think. Take a look at this. Bitcoin rebounded after dropping as low as 32,000 overnight, slumping to a 2-week low, with some analysts pointing to the recovery. Look at this. The recovery of Colonial Pipeline's ransom. So what that means is that the government has evidence that crypto isn't beyond government control. Well, that caused the price of crypto to go up. Don't ask me why. That would have frightened me if I'm in cryptos. One of the reasons I want to own stuff is I don't want that third-party risk. I don't want someone to be able to come in and just take it away from me. But apparently, cryptocurrencies are not as safe as you think as far as government's ability to come and take them away from you, because they are. And if the government can come and take them away from you, that means hackers can come and take them away from you. I don't like investments like that personally, folks. But again, I don't want to seem like I'm rapping on cryptos. I like anything that competes with the U.S. fiat dollar. What article? This website comes back online after global Fastly out. Oh, the outage I was talking about. Here's the article I was mentioning. After an hour of website and apps worldwide went dark, many are coming back online around 7:30 in the morning here, our time, Eastern time. The core problem was an issue identified on a Fastly CDN, content delivery network. A lot of websites, HBO, Max, Hulu, went down. So the internet basically went down because of a content delivery network or a network issue. I don't know exactly what that is, what that means, but that's just one small component of the internet that went down, and look what it caused. and they're talking about Cloudflare last year. I guess the big internet down that we had as well. And there goes my phone ringing off the hook. Sorry about that, folks. I told you I'd try to keep that phone out of your ear. Anyway, scary thing. And again, what I talked about for the last 10 or 15 minutes here is that if your entire net wealth relies on power and internet, then you really should, your entire, I didn't say some of it, your entire, you should really rethink some things. And again, that's just my opinion. Good articles here in gata.org. If you're new to my channel and you're just starting to listen to me, I can say one thing. If you don't have gata.org on your bookmark bar up here and you're not watching it, reading it once a week, then you really are an uninformed gold and silver buyer. These are the guys that talk about who the manipulators are, here basically it's like Las Vegas. These guys are going to teach you who the good players are, who the bad players are, who the manipulated cheaters are, how the game is played, and who plays the game, and who's actually running the game. That's what these guys do for you. You need to be reading this at least once a week. No silver eagles for sale for the last 2 months. Well, that has nothing to do with the lack of silver. That's bullshit. That's a bullshit narrative. The U.S. Mint could come up with silver for these if they wanted to, I think. I think what they're doing is they're kind of gearing up for the new release of the new silver eagle. I guess with that new design, I'm not going to follow it. I'm a coin guy. I'm not going to follow it. It's such nonsense. I like silver eagles, don't get me wrong, but a lot of marketing goes into this stuff as well. And let's kind of move along. I'm never going to read that article because it's just it's a false flag or whatever. The fact that there's no silver eagles for sale, again, has, in my opinion, has not a lot to do with lack of silver. It has a lot to do with marketing and the fact they're going to a design change here soon. Again, that's my opinion. Perth Mint has some gold. Basel III has already demolished claims that central banks don't rig the gold market. I think that was the one I was going to hit for you and do a quick read. Again, we're going to get into answer some comments from yesterday's video, and I'm going to go into after this and tell you what the best deals of the day are, what you should stay away from, what you should buy. Basel III has already declaimed. There we go. Many predictions are being offered about the impact of Basel III regulations on unallocated gold that have been proposed by the bank. This is big news for gold guys, by the way. And again, I'm sorry I keep talking about biz, but it's June. The new rules come into effect here, I guess, on the 28th here or something. So this is why we're talking about it a lot lately. Many, where was I? And the European Banking Authority has scheduled for implementation in the European Union at the end of this month. Okay, what we just said. Dispatch continues below. Let me read this whole thing. Some observers foresee an explosion in the gold price. And I'm not one of those people. I don't see an explosion per se. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, actually. But I don't see an explosion in the gold price at the end of the month. I think that this is playing out over time, and I think it's already started playing out. Of course, people that were in the know have already started trading on this news. And again, I think the market's already been in movement with this news, and I don't see an explosion at the end of the month, but again, we'll see what happens. Likely carrying silver and other metals with it, while others expect nothing special at all, figuring that central banks would never do anything favorable for the once and potentially future world reserve currency. I don't believe that either. Again, as I said, I believe that that this rule has already made the changes. The markets have already been moved by this rule long ago, but it is going to have an impact for sure, and it'll have a positive impact, I believe, to get rid of those paper derivatives, fake gold, more or less, which now even competes most inconveniently with their own currency. For your Secretary Treasurer, the weightiest piece of evidence about Basel III is the astounding panicked protest issued last month ago by the London Bullion Market Association with the World Gold Council. And actually, it's funny that the World Gold Council would even want to help out London, or they would be against Basel, because the World Gold Council is supposed to be a bunch of miners, people that produce real physical gold. I don't know why they would be supporting London, who supports paper markets, not real gold. But anyway, I digress again. The LBMA WGC protest contends that Basel III would make the unallocated gold business, that business that the LNBA banks and COMEX, by the way, prohibitively expensive by requiring the banks to amass a huge new deposits to offset what Basel III considers derivative liabilities on allocated gold, and would impair transactions. So they're whining. They don't want to end their party. Man, they've been making billions off this unallocated paper gold market. So of course they're going to whine, cry, and scream, and you're going to have to drag them out the door screaming and kicking because you're ending their party. Your Secretary Treasury has imagined mechanisms by which central banks seeking to persist along. Again, I don't want to read this whole thing because we will be here for a while. Really good article. Again, we've been talking about this biz thing for quite some time, but the newest one that just popped up under gata.org. So after you're done with this video, or now if you want to stop it right now and read it, that's fine as well. Basel III it's in gata.org. Couple down here. I'll show you where it's at. There's the newest article right there, and it's about 3 down. Click that one, read it. I think it explains things very well. And again, if you're a gold and silver stacker, you need to be reading gata.org at least once a week. Let's get over some. Let's talk about some comments from yesterday's video, and I'd like to thank every. Here, I'm going to kind of scroll over your names here because I don't always get to mention you, but I'd like to thank every one of you folks here. For watching me and for making comments and supporting this channel. I really appreciate it. And God, there's quite a few of you commenting today. It used to be where I had like a dozen guys I could sit here and just talk with on comments. And now it's getting to be so many. I guess at some point I just won't be able to answer that many of them. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Let's see. Todd Marks says, I'm going to try to focus on more specific questions that have to do with the show here. And again, I can't answer them all, so forgive me if I missed you. Todd says, I have one question. Why did gold fall in March 2020 when the Dow fell? I think the problem, Todd, is that back in the 80s that gold seemed to fall in line with the price of oil. Oil was going up, gold was going up, and a lot of people psychologically tie those two things together. And I think the same thing with the Dow is that you saw the Dow going up and gold going down, and vice versa for some time. So that pattern kind of gets stuck in your mind. But these trends and patterns all work till they don't. And the thing with Dow, it don't work no more. Neither does gas. Gas just stopped. The correlation was just done. So there's just no correlation right now, and that's it. And it's probably a psychological thing, like we've been talking about here. Greg says 2,500 a year by end. That's an interesting question. And Greg, you brought up exactly what I've been saying. Well, if it does, it may do it in nominal value, but the buying power won't be really that much different. I kind of disagree, but I know what you're saying. When I hear people saying gold at $5,000 and $10,000, my first instinct is kind of what you were just thinking there. Oh well, if gold's at $10,000 an ounce, a loaf of bread's going to be $50. It's all relative, man. But again, what have I always said about gold and silver? Think of it first as wealth preservation, not about getting rich. So, it would go up, and so would the price of other things, Greg. But again, wealth preservation, it worked perfectly in that regards. Let me move on to a couple other here. Thanks for watching, Greg. Leroy, thanks for watching. D-Man, there you go, brother. Thanks. And thanks, Inspector Jason, for the compliment. Hoddle Spacecraft says blood in the streets. That was yesterday's show. Actually, what I'm commenting about right now. The Biden effect, and again, some of this stuff you'd have to read, folks. You'd have to watch yesterday's video to understand what some of the comments here are about. And here, I'm kind of just focusing on some. Hey, Benoit, what's happening? For sure, the JPM Morgan guy knows about the crypto markets steam bath that's going to happen there in the colony of whales pumping it to attract dumb. That's true. The problem, again, you're right, Benoit. The reason that the crypto markets scare me, besides a dozen reasons that I've just described, power, internet, is the fact that it is not a completely regulated market, and the whales are in there. They've been in there. The billionaires have been. Look at what just one guy, a billionaire, Elon Musk, by opening his mouth, can do to that market. I don't want to be in any market that relies on some idiot making some idiot comment. Now, don't get me wrong, Elon's not an idiot. He is probably in many ways. Again, a PhD and an education and $1 billion doesn't make you a genius. All right, it just said that you did something very well and you happen to be in the right place at the right time. So just because Elon's a billionaire, don't make the guy a freaking genius. Again, he's genius in his own manner, just like I'm a genius in my own things, and just like but I'm an idiot in other things as well. So And I fully admit that. Except there's a lot of people that think that, because I'm a billionaire, I'm a genius in everything, or because I got a PhD, no, it doesn't work that way, folks. I've met garbage men that are smarter than some doctors, again, that's not a standard and that's not a slight. I'm just saying, just because you're smart in one thing doesn't make you smart in other things. I don't know how I digress from that, but thanks for watching. Linda, I love the ocean view too. Google account. Hey, nice to see people from UK watching. I hope you have good local coin stores there as well, and that you're not buying online. With that said, here in the UK, every month is a record high on property price with no sign of it ever slowing down. Even a 12 by 10 beach hut with no running water or electricity sells for $450,000. The national debt hit tilt. Yeah, we're in the same position, sir. I get it at 100%. Where is that phone? I'm going to turn that sucker off. I don't see it. I think it fell on the floor back here. One second. Oh, looks like someone got it. Finally, my staff is answering the phone. Sorry about that. Yeah, this what you're talking, what Google account's talking about is yesterday's show. I was talking that when gold and silver gets into bubble territory, and if there's blood in the streets as far as the housing market gets the crap kicked out of it, like 2008, stock market gets the crap kicked out of it. The ideal thing is, if gold is way up, folks, is to sell a portion of that gold, sell some of it off, and buy the investments. Again, blood in the streets. That's what yesterday's show was about. Buy cheaper assets. I see a lot of people say, I'm never selling my gold and silver. Well, that's not a good attitude to take. Be smart about this. Take some money off the table and move it into some assets that got stomped on, and then ride those assets up. And again, gold will bubble and silver will bubble at some time. Thanks for watching, Mr. Google account. I appreciate it, or Mrs. Google account. I appreciate it. Nathan Locke says, yes, I remember the game, paper ball game, last to touch the paper, water paper, when the bell rang, got the kidney punches. I think you're a little bit older school than I. We didn't get kidney punches. Ours was a plastic toy that you wound up, and then you threw it to everybody. It just buzzed, and I don't know. But maybe kidney punches makes the game a little scarier. Thanks for watching, Nathan. Batman and Robin, AppMix is talking about a month to secure certain silver. There is a supply delay. Yeah, people, it's flying off the shelf, folks. Even in my store, it's flying off the shelves. I'm paying more to get product than I've ever paid in my entire life as a dealer. Premiums are just ridiculous on some things, especially with silver. Gold seems to be letting up. The premiums seem to be falling a little bit on gold, except for Gold Eagles, just because they're not producing them. And again, that's marketing stuff, I think. So yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you guys got stocked up early. I'm going to take a sip of coffee here, so if you hear silence and slurping noises, that's me. One sec. Ooh, I got to heat that up. Low blood pressure. I like that name. I don't think stocks or real estate will ever go down. I disagree. I think we're going to see another 2000. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not an expert in those fields. However, I think it'll hyperinflate with the dollar. Well, interesting point. However, wow, that's a tough question. I don't think we're going to see a hyperinflationary event with the dollar. I really don't. I think they're going to be able to tame it out, but what we're going to see is stagflation, or we're going to see some inflation, and we're going to see what we've seen already in an accelerated fashion. So, and what that looks like to me is that the cost of living and everything across the board is going to continue to go up, but they're going to lie about it and say the CPI is much lower. But I don't think it's going to double or triple overnight. I think you're going to see an acceleration of what we've seen already. Also, in wages. Wages haven't gone up at all. People are still getting paid the same they did 20 years ago, more or less. And I'm not talking about minimum wage entry-level workers. I'm talking about skilled level. Hasn't gone up as much as the cost of living has. But again, that's a whole different show. Jeremiah, thanks for watching. You'll never touch bonds. It's putting your money in the hands of the government. You can't argue with that. I won't repeat this because I actually did say it, and I guess repeating it would be just redundant, but you got that right, and you got that right, Kevin. Jeremiah says, I did say that, sorry about that for you folks that don't like bad language. Occasionally I do let one fly out. Jeremiah says, slowly sell your stack to buy other physical assets. Yeah, exactly, Jeremiah, I agree 100%. And Merger Awesome says, I doubt you would like Goldbacks as they have super premium. Thanks for, I do know what you're talking about. And the gentleman asked me yesterday about Goldbacks, and yeah, it's not real. It's not. I don't like them. And let me just say it, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm trying to be nice, and I am being nice. And you can be nice by saying you don't like something. So I don't like them. So to answer the gentleman's questions yesterday, super high premiums, there's nothing I like about super high premiums. It's not really money. So no, I wouldn't buy them myself personally. And again, I know what they are now. William Roos says, still bullish on precious metals. Goldbacks are cool, but pricey. Yep, agree. Hey, Mike, I just had my sip of coffee. Hope you did too. And it's a little cool. I do have to warm it up here. And great analysis. Thank you, JT. First-time listener. I appreciate it. I don't sell online, sir. And as you'll see when I get to the rest of this video, I'm a local dealer only here in South Florida. So if you live in South Florida, you can come and visit me. But other than that, best recommendation to you guys out there is buy local. Keep your money local. Don't buy online. Not because online guys are bad, just because you need to keep that money in your community. Tom Stone says, read the book, The Economic Hitman. Actually, Tom, I saw your comment before I got here. I did read it. It kind of ties in what we've been talking about for quite some time, about markets being manipulated and basically economies and countries being manipulated. Pretty heavy stuff there, Tom. I'm not quite sure I can get into it, but I concur. I think that stuff does happen for sure. I'm very familiar, too, with the overthrow of the democratic government in Iran. I've talked about it in past on some political things I've done. Silversmith says the market is like the game Jenga. Once the wrong piece, you hit it, brother. It is a Jenga game, and that's exactly what we're all waiting for. You know how the game I'm talking about, the bomb that we throw to each other and it goes off? Well, that's old school. The new game of that bomb is called Jenga. And yeah, it's a Jenga game, man. We're all sitting here waiting for this economy. Who's going to pull out that last piece? What that last piece is? Which piece is going to knock down this tower? Agree 100%. Hey, folks, thanks for watching this video, too, by the way, and thanks for the comments. Make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button. I do appreciate it. It helps me out. Even though I'm a local business only, it's nice to know people are watching, even if they're not in your area. Best deals out there. I'm going to tell you absolutely what you don't want to pay. You don't want to pay any more than... And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying $6 an ounce, because I am pretty much getting low on 1 ounce, 10 ounce. I'm actually out 1 ounce, 10 ounce, 100 ounce products. I'm on pre-order right now. I expect to get it in fairly fast. And you can buy from me on pre-orders as well if you live locally. You can pay for the order. When it comes in, you get it, and you're locked in with that price. But right now, I'm sitting on with just Eagles, which I really don't want to sell to you. I want to sell them wholesale only, so I'm not even going to offer you those. I'm sitting on a bunch of maple leaves. So if you want immediate delivery and you live near me, I will beat the hell out of JM bullion, SD bullion, APMEX bullion on the price of maple leaves. I've got some different varieties of maples too, Falcons, Eagles, and things. So I will keep them below that $6. Or actually, I'll keep them at that $6 level. And if you're buying quantity under that, I know those guys are even more money if I'm correct, even if they have them even. So I do have that product available, and I got 1 in 10 ounces and 100 ounces available for slightly delayed delivery for cheaper prices. So don't be spending more than $6 per ounce for any silver products. And again, I would rather than even buying the silver maples that I have on hand right now, I'd rather have you pre-order the 1 ounce to 100 ounce products, and they're going to run you between $4 and $5 per ounce. That's a $2 per ounce saving over the maples I have on hand right now. But if you want a good deal on maples, better than anyone else has them, and you want to pick them up and have immediate delivery, I do have them. They're spot plus $6. And as far as and don't pay more than $6 on this stuff, folks. And again, I'd rather have you come in and just order the stuff from me at $5 over, not necessarily pay the $6. The ideal level is pay between $4 and $5 an ounce from your local precious metal dealers. If he has the stuff, don't pay any more than $6 an ounce unless you absolutely have to. And they're really... and you can't find any in your own state. As far as gold goes, you don't pay anything more than $100 per ounce premium for anything. Maples seem to come down a little bit. Eagles have come down a tiny bit, and so has Krugerrands. They're in that $100 to $150 premium range, but I still think bars are a far better deal at spot plus $60 to $85, depending on the quantity that you're buying. Don't spend more than you have to. Who cares what the product looks like, as long as it's real and it's resaleable and recognizable by dealers. Well, I hope I've given you some good information here. This is, oh, and I did tell you here, I sell locally only. I'm a brick and mortar in South Florida here. I don't sell online, and I can't sell on the phone. So, you know, sorry, folks. My recommendation is buy local. APMEX, JM, SD Bullion, I advertise to beat their prices all the time. They're great companies. As far as I understand, I don't think they're going anywhere fast. You don't have to worry about losing your money or them closing up, as far as I know. Their prices are good. However, as a local dealer that doesn't have the cost and the other things, the expenses that those guys do, I can easily beat their prices, and it's not my sole business too. So I think you should find a local dealer. If you don't live in my area, find a local dealer in your area, whether it's in your city, town. If you have to drive into the county a half hour, do that. Even if you have to keep it in the state and drive an hour to find a good dealer, do that. And my other recommendation is find more than one good dealer. In case you're one good dealer, something happens to them, heart attack, meteorite, something like that, goes away, you're going to need a second guy because and also for you guys out there that don't have any local dealers and you can't even drive an hour and find a dealer, you guys need to find a dealer somewhere, because when it comes time for you to sell, you need to establish a relationship with someone, because you do not want to be mailing it to these online companies. You don't want your stuff running through the mail. Trust me on this. So even if you're stuck with dealing online companies, you have to find a local to sell your stuff to at some point. Well, that's really about it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Call me anytime at 954-493-8811 between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. Happy to help you out and give you the best deal of the day. And again, that's really about it. Hope you have a great day, and let's see what happens with the market. The coin said bull, and let's see if it's a bull market today. I kind of think it might jump back up a little bit, so coin might be wrong. Hey, thanks again for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day. Talk to you tomorrow.